Let's focus on what the Falcons did right. Because this is one of those moments, Devin, where you think the game's over. And then you're handed a gift when you've already thought you've lost. And you can come out and you can play loose. You got nothing to lose because you've already lost. That was the most dangerous mindset, I think, to give the Falcons. It was already over. Scott Van Pelt said so at the 2-minute warning. Everybody agreed. So what the hell? Let's just go take this thing. I feel like those moments, authentic, real moments like that, are very fleeting and they're very rare. But when they come your way, you just go take them.
Exactly. And I think there's a comfort for some teams in certain situations. If we're going to be honest about the Falcons, their defense is 3rd and 3. You don't have a good plan or anything set up right there. We used to always talk about as a defense, key situations, key moments, 3rd and shorts, flat to the left. That's where you always have to think teams want to attack flat to the left. And what does Philly do? They have Saquon Barkley wide open in the flat where he's going to pick up the first down. So right there as a defense, like that's not a good job. You get lucky, drops the ball, but then the comfort comes in. When Kirk Cousins takes the field and that offense takes the field, I think even when you think about Zach Robinson coming from the Sean McVay system, being in LA last year, Matt Stafford, all of those things, you come over, you have a veteran quarterback like Kirk Cousins who can throw the ball, who can make plays. I think that's where it starts. When they take the field for that 2-minute, you look at the clock, you're like, a minute and 33. Yeah, we don't have any timeouts, but this is plenty of time to drive the field and go set up for a game-winning play. So I think that's where Atlanta first was like, we're good. This is why we got this guy. This is why Kirk Cousins is our quarterback now. It's for these moments. The disappointing thing was Philly. 3 plays, and they're inside the 15-yard line on a 12-yard line in 3 plays. Yes, we as a defense, you always talk about, hey, be ready. Their first play is going to try to get the drive going. And then what can't you give up? Long passes on the sideline and long passes down the middle. Anything else is okay. And on the second play of the drive, I thought that's where it really broke Philly down. They're in a cover 2 safeties up high, and Quinyon Mitchell, the rookie, really decides to attack the 5-yard route, the route you want to give up, and it opens Mooney down the sideline where he can catch the ball and get big yardage. And I thought right from there, Atlanta got the one play they needed to say, hey, guys, we're in business now. Now we're going to go win the game. And then after that, they went on a couple more routes and then ultimately setting up Drake London one-on-one with Slay. And I know Slay will say it today. Just terrible fundamentals on the plays and man-to-man coverage. And I don't think he looked at Drake London one time on it. And I know after the game, he said, good route. It was a decent route. It wasn't, Slay covers that route any day of the week. His eyes aren't where they're supposed to be. And that's, to me, what was disappointing for Philadelphia was last year in these moments, this team defensively, when they were on the field, think about Seattle last year, and they had their chance to go win the game. They just didn't show up. They didn't get a stop. It wasn't a big sack. It wasn't a big pass breakup or interception. It was just like, hey, guys, you left too much time on the clock offense. Now we're going to lose. And that, to me, is disappointing for a team that wants to be in the Super Bowl this year.
And I'm not making excuses for the Philadelphia defense because you still got to play until the clock says 0-0-0. But the flip side of what we were talking about with the Falcons, where they're given a gift, it's over. Oh, wait, we get one more chance? We get a mulligan? This thing's going to just be handed us? Fine, we'll take it. From the perspective of Philadelphia's defense, you think it's over. You think it's done. You're ready to go celebrate. You're ready to enjoy that you're going to be 2-0. And now you got to restart the engine and go back out there and defend the field and all the stuff that goes along with it. And I just feel like they were ultra conservative. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh crap. They're in range to score. Well, hopefully they'll score fast so we have a chance to go back down the field and get the game-winning field goal. I mean, that was kind of like the mood, like, well, so much for this drive. Maybe we can pull victory out of the jaws of defeat like they're just doing now. I just feel like the Eagles defense never really woke up, and they were being way too careful. 4-man rush. You got to pressure Kirk Cousins. Didn't you watch a game last week? Eagles, look what T.J. Watt did. You got to get in his face. You got to make him think about getting hit. You got to make him think about his surgically repaired right leg. I feel like that drive was perfect for him to shake off all the rust mentally and trust the leg. I feel like he wasn't trusting it last week. You get a spot like that where you have no time to think about it and you just trust it.
And how often do we see that? Offenses sometimes struggle all first half or second half, whatever it is, and then they get in a 2-minute situation where you don't have time to think. You just go. And I think for Philadelphia, if that was their mentality, that's not a championship mentality. I can think back Super Bowl 51, we're on the sideline, we win the coin toss, Brady and the offense is on the field, and as a defense, we are standing up. We're like, well, we're going to go win the game. Brady's Matt Patricia is cursing us out, telling us to sit down, prepare, because we're going to have to take the field as a defense. He's not saying if, he's saying we're going to have to take the field as a defense. This is what we're going to call if we get back out there.
Man, you really, you are being drawn to that moment like a magnet. Maybe I've already influenced you in a very bad way. I'm trying to stay positive and give the Falcons praise so my email box isn't flooded with all the Falcons fans who are the only ones watching this now, if anyone is, because they want to hear good things about their team. I've figured this out after about 15 years. And I got to give praise to the offensive line. That offensive line did not look good against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and maybe it's just as simple as one team has T.J. Watt and one team doesn't. But you know, the offensive line, like, why would anybody want to play offensive line? Because when you do a great job, nobody notices. They only notice you when you screw up. It take us, there's 16 minutes to even mention, oh, wait, the reason Kirk Cousins was able to slice and dice the Eagles defense, the reason that the four-man rush didn't work in that moment, every play, we just showed it, stoned by the Atlanta Falcons offensive line, and they're not going to get the praise that they deserve because it goes to the guy that threw the ball, it goes to the guy that caught the ball, and before you get to the point where you praise the Falcons offensive line, it goes to the horrible decision by the Eagles to give them that last chance.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't feel that bad for the offensive line. When you play corner in the NFL, if your guy doesn't catch any passes, no one really cares. They're like, hey, those guys, I guess they're doing, the offense stinks. Like right now in the NFL, what is everybody talking about? Quarterback play is down. The offenses are bad. No one says these DBs are playing really good ball. Good. No one talks about that. True. So, hey, offensive lineman, I feel your pain. But you know what? We're going to give you some love because not only did you protect Kirk Cousins, you ran the football, and that's what really opened things up and kept them in the game was their ability to run the football. If they could have punched some of these plays into the end zone early in the game, it would have been a totally different game the way they were operating, and that really goes for both teams, but especially Atlanta. But the ability of Bijan Robinson and Algier to run the football really opened it up, and Troy Aikman kept saying it all night. This offensive line is built to run the ball. They love to do that, and I always think about being, a lot of times in the locker room, the defensive backs lockers were on this side, and right across was the offensive line. So the trash talking, if they got to one of us in practice, because they love that. If they can run down and take defensive linemen, double teams up to the linebackers, eventually getting the corners and safeties, they get excited. That gets them excited, being able to own another man and drive them down the field, that once you get to the fourth quarter and gets to 2 minutes, these guys they're happy. They're, like we used to say, they're fat and happy. They're ready to go. They're ready to really stop guys. And that's what you saw for Atlanta, the luxury of being able to run the ball and take it to Philadelphia, that once they got to the 2 minutes, they're like, we've worn these guys down. Their pass rush is not the same as it was in the first quarter. They're tired of us leaning and putting our weight on them. And you could see that pay off at the end of the game because, hey, they were in better shape. They understood what they needed to do, and it showed for Atlanta. So, yeah, you're right. Kudos to Atlanta, that offensive line. I'm sure it was a rough film session to start the week, but tomorrow they're going to wake up. They're going to go into the facility after a day off, and hopefully they start with a little 30-minute recap of that Monday night win before they move on to Kansas City and talk about what the offensive line was able to do, because they're going to need that again Sunday night when they ought to see Chris Jones and that crew.
Yeah, congratulations, Falcons. You got the big win in primetime against the Philadelphia Eagles. Your reward is the two-time defending champions are coming to town, and you have one fewer day than they did to get ready for it. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.